Good evening and welcome to this edition of In Focus on Whitewater Community Television's WGTV Channel 11. I'm Eric Marsh, Executive Director of Whitewater Community Television. Very glad you're able to join us for what is going to be a fun show for me because I've got high school students around me, and you know I always enjoy it when we're able to get students in talking about what they're doing. The second half of this program is actually going to be the repeat of a conversation held earlier this year, actually the first Thursday of the year. Phil Quinn was sitting in for me. He had a chat with Leslie Bolser, and we're going to replay that on the second half. But want to start by letting you know that tomorrow at noon actually is the last day that people can register if they plan on running for an office, and you still have time to register to vote for those folks, and we do encourage you to do that. Voter registration office, 301 East Main Street, Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30. You can also check your voter status online, indianavoters.com. You can do it from the comfort of your home. If you need more information on what's going on, 973-9304, or check out the Wayne County Clerk's registration site. Again, tomorrow at noon is the deadline for those that are filing for office. And then, of course, if there are any contested races, we will turn In Focus into In Focus candidate forums, give you a chance to actually ask questions of the candidates. The conversation we're going to have tonight actually started with a conversation about mac and cheese. And I'm really not kidding. We're going to get to that. But first, I want to introduce, or have actually my guests very quickly introduce themselves. We'll start with the young man over here who's outnumbered. Come on. Give us your name.
My name is Matthew Berry.
Okay.
My name is Rachel Merida.
My name is Carrie Meal.
I'm Cami Lehman.
Okay. These four students all go to Lincoln High School. They are all members of BPA. And if you don't know what BPA is, let's watch this video and then we'll come back to it.
This is Matthew. He goes to a small school in a small town, and unlike other students, he is not involved in anything. He continues to go to a boring school and the same boring classes. Because of the lack of interest, he isn't focused, he doesn't get good grades, he doesn't have many friends, and he occasionally falls asleep in class. Until one day, Matthew finds a mysterious pen. Unfortunately, Matthew could not find where the pen belonged. Then, finally, someone sent him in the right direction.
Before joining BPA, I didn't have any friends and I didn't involve myself in any extracurricular activities. But after joining BPA, I have so many friends, I have stellar grades, and I plan on pursuing a career in business.
3 letters, BPA. BPA stands for Business Professionals of America, a career and technical student organization. What does BPA mean to us?
To me, BPA is an organization that has taught me skills that cannot be taught in the classroom, like creativity, leadership, and communication skills, and this will help me for my future.
To me, BPA is an organization that has helped me learn and grow for the passion I have in videography, photography, and business.
To me, BPA is an organization that pushes students like myself outside of their comfort zone to prepare them for the workforce. BPA has not only taught me business, but it's also taught me leadership, citizenship, and technological skills.
To me, BPA is an organization where you can develop professionalism, leadership, and academic skills.
In Business Professionals of America, we develop essential competencies in leadership, scholarship, character, and citizenship so that we may share in the improvement of our economy and in the advancement of our nation. Not only does BPA benefit those in the business field, but those in the medical field, news departments, cosmetology, military, and many other occupations. BPA also gives back to the community through Special Olympics, Torch Awards, and BPA Cares.
I have so many kids in BPA this year, and I'm so happy to have them. They are always willing to do any project I have, from making envelopes to helping with spreadsheets, even to small tasks in my classroom. They are always geared up and ready to go, and positive people that are great kids to have.
I am a local BPA advisor, and I really notice a big change in my students after they join the organization. They become more professional, more outgoing in their outward appearance and their presentations. I remember one particular student named Matthew who stumbled upon a pin one day, and it was actually a Business Professionals of America pin, and he wondered what this organization was all about. Once he joined the organization, he really changed and became more outward, outgoing, more professional in his appearance, and this organization really had a big impact on his high school career.
For more information, visit bpa.org.
And welcome back to In Focus. All right, there's a lot to unpack from that. First of all, who had a hand in the creation of the video?
Us too.
You too?
Yep.
Okay. What was the inspiration for it? Why did you do it?
Actually, it came to me in a dream. That sounds really weird, but when I was sleeping one day, I was really wanting a good idea, and it just popped up. And so I told Carrie and all my other teammates, and they all thought it was a good idea.
Okay. Teammates, this is for the competition, correct? This is for,
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What is the name of what you all are doing? How many people are on the team? Who did the writing? Who did some of the editing? Talk to us a little bit about that.
So we're the video production team, and I did the editing, and we all did like filming. Kylie Smith, which was on the video, she did the scripts and stuff, and Cammie kind of organized. Here, you can. Yeah, I organized and like came up with the ideas and like showed them how I wanted it to be, like how I want it to come out. And then Lainey, the other member, she did our drawings and she helped us come up with a lot of ideas too.
Okay. So one of your students was actually doing the drawing that was seen there
Yes,
that
yeah.
you all did. Well done. Okay. I have to turn this way. Matthew, I felt so sad for you at the very beginning. No friends. No, okay, she came up with this story in a dream.
Yes.
How much of it was actually?
It was all made up. I didn't find a pin in real life or anything. Freshman year, I joined BPA. Before, I didn't know anything, but yeah, I was forced into the role. But I'm glad I did it, and the video turned out pretty awesome.
Okay, now let's take a step back. BPA. What is it? What does it mean to you all? You've been in it for, you're all seniors, correct?
Yep.
Okay, you've been in it for 4 years. What made you as a freshman go into this?
As a middle schooler, I saw all the older kids. This is the biggest club that we have in our school, and I saw them all having
BPA
fun.
is the biggest club that you have in the school.
Yes.
Yes.
Now we have 53 members. So that's a good percentage for our size school. But I saw them all having fun in this, and I realized that we can take trips that we can stay overnight. We go to different states. We can go all the way to California, New York, Texas. So that was a little bit of incentive just to be able to take these trips with my friends and stuff. But I'm glad I've done it. Not only do I get to take trips, but it's taught me a lot about what I need to learn for my future.
Okay. Why are you in it, and what do you do?
I've been in BPA all 4 years too, and I have 3 older siblings that all did BPA, so that's how I learned about this organization.
Okay.
And I'm in 2 different events. One is word processing, and I'm also in a team event with the administrative support team. And we use like all the applications like Excel, PowerPoint, database, Word, and like all of those, and we just work together, and we do a bunch of, in our competitions, we do letters and spreadsheets and all of that.
Sounds like so much fun. What is a competition day like for you?
Competition days, I'm really nervous in the morning, and at regionals it is a very long day because you You go in, you prepare for your competition, you go do your competition. It's usually an hour and a half, and then you have to wait around and wait for the results. And then, but at state, it's like over the course of 3 days. So the awards day is a totally different day.
Okay. I have to make sure I heard. Your competition lasts an hour and a half.
Yes.
From prep to completion, or how does it work?
Like, you get into the room and they give you the packet, and you have like 10 minutes to review it, which I normally don't take the full 10 minutes, and then it takes about an hour and a half. There's like 5 jobs on it normally. So.
Wow. Okay. How did you get involved? What are you doing? How is it taking you where you want to go?
Probably my biggest inspiration was my sister, because she did BPA and she always talked about like traveling, because she went to Florida one year. And I'm obviously in video production, and I'm in graphic design. I also do a photography event, and it's definitely found like what I like. With video production, I'm going to Ball State and majoring in telecommunications, so because I really enjoy making videos.
How come we're just meeting you tonight? How come you haven't been interning, doing some work, recording the Cambridge City meetings or something for us, anything? Have you been in it all 4 years also?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you were telling me that one of your events really is kind of more of just a national event?
Yeah, if I don't go to regionals, and I also don't go to state for this event, and like I might not make it, I'm not really sure yet, but if I do, I'll go straight to nationals for it.
And what is the event?
Photography.
Okay. How long have you been taking pictures?
For about 3 years now.
Okay. Landscapes, people?
People mostly. I like landscapes because I do like to travel a lot, but.
Okay. And your BPA story is?
I've been in it for 4 years, and when I first came to school at Lincoln, my brother was kind of shy, and then he did BPA, and he really got a lot of friends from it, and he really came out of his shell. So I really wanted to get the experience he had, and he made it really far in a lot of stuff. And I do video production team, and I do advanced accounting.
Okay. What do you do in competition? When you say advanced accounting in competition, what is a day like for you? Because we've never seen it, and even in talking ahead of time, your advisor doesn't even go into the room. So explain to us kind of what happens.
Okay, so when I first go into my advanced accounting event, I get an hour and a half, I think, and they give you like a multiple choice section, and then you have to do like journalizing, and there's multiple different parts of it. So I have to go through my book and figure out the things that I don't know, but then I fill out the stuff I do know. And then at the end they grade it and they see who got the best grade. And then for my video production team, we do it ahead of time. We make our presentation and we practice it, and then we go into the event and we present it.
Through the course of the year, how early does this start for you all? And I have no knowledge base of this. We have, on the last couple of years, had students from Richmond High School speech team come in. We know that they start practicing in September. They're competing every week until they get to April or May, something like that. That's not quite what you all go through, is it? What is it that you all go through? What's your season like?
Well, we have like a call-out meeting in September. Then we invite kids from all the grades, and we have a call-out meeting, and then.
And it sounds like everybody shows up.
There's a lot of us that show up, and then we take count of everybody, and everybody chooses their events. And once everybody knows what events they're going to be doing, we start practicing, and it usually. Mrs. Klein stays after school pretty much every day to help us prepare for our events, and it's over a series of months. Our regional conference is in December, December 10th or 12th, I think it was this year. And so we spend a lot of time preparing every week, every month, and so we really put a lot of work into it, and it paid off this year. I think every single member from our chapter is moving on to the State Leadership Conference this year.
Okay, so you start your elimination with regionals. You go regionals, you do elimination. You all have 53 members. Everybody's moving on to state.
Yeah.
Nationals is what you all are really kind of shooting for next here, correct?
Yes.
That's going to be where?
That is going to be in Anaheim, California this year.
Okay. That kind of brings us, I think, to how I started this. I got a call from a gentleman who said, we're having our 3rd annual mac and cheese, and I stopped him there. And I said, I'm sorry. And he said, we're having our 3rd annual mac and cheese contest to raise money for our BPA club. Somebody tell me about this mac and cheese competition.
So we started this 3 years ago, and we have 10 different restaurants or even like bakeries from around the county, not just Cambridge City. We have 10 different ones come, and they each bring their mac and cheese, and everybody gets 10 sample-sized cups of it, and trust me, it fills you up. It does. And this year we have 3 from Richmond, I think, Cordial Cork, Radford, and the Reed Hospital.
I'll give you the sheet because I have notes and I have a cheat sheet, so go for it.
And we have Willie and Reds from Hagerstown, and then we do have Lakeview, Lumpy's, Number 9, and Pizza Pie, all from Cambridge.
Okay.
And Pizza Pie, I think, won last year, and they have mac and cheese pizza. It's very good.
Wow. Okay. So this is going to be coming up on Thursday, February 21st from 6 to 8 at the Golay Community Center. There is a price for the tickets. Obviously, this is a fundraiser. We can't talk about the ticket price, but if you need information, there are a couple of numbers on the screen for Lincoln High School BPA. There's also a number there for the Chamber of Commerce, and any of those folks would be more than happy to provide you with information. The 3rd annual Wayne County Mac and Cheese contest is taking place to help you all out. Now, you all have all done this for 4 years now. Are there any national competitors here?
I think us two, only us two.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Last year I made it in my parliamentary procedure team event, and that's where we run a formal business meeting. We get a prompt, and it tells us what we need to do during our meeting. And so we get 15 minutes to prepare in a separate room. And after those 15 minutes are up, we go into a room in front of 3 judges, and we run a formal meeting. Most businesses run meetings, and they're formal, but this one you have to have amendments and main motions, and you have to second people, and it's prepared me a lot for.
And you've got to know Robert's Rules of Order, I assume, forward and backwards to make this work.
Yes, it's very challenging, but it's honestly a lot of fun.
You all's idea of fun is really interesting. Advanced accounting. Ooh. Where did you go in?
I've made it to nationals every year. My freshman year.
I'm sorry?
Yeah. In my freshman year, I made it in intermediate word processing, which is just making memos, letters, and tables. And then my sophomore year, I got 8th at state, but then people couldn't go, so then I moved. It's like the top 5 at state go on.
Okay.
So people couldn't go, and she asked me if I could go, and it was in Orlando that year. And I ended up getting 2nd at nationals in advanced word processing.
Nice.
So that was a good surprise. And then last year I made it in both my events, which was advanced word processing and administrative support team.
What has this done for you all? What has being a part of this organization done for you through your 4 years of high school?
I really think it's helped me with school because when I was a freshman, I didn't really want to try as hard, but then BPA showed me how you can make it fun and how much you should apply yourself for it because it will help you for the real world.
What about you?
It's definitely helped me get involved with things. I love just going after school and hanging out with my friends and also learning, and like she said, it has definitely helped me with school.
You all obviously, I assume, meet students because you all have a region stays the same.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You all have done this for 4 years. You've met students from other schools.
Yes.
Have you developed friendships through that?
I actually met a kid from Ohio at nationals my freshman year, and we still kind of stay in contact, so yeah.
Okay. You're all seniors. You've all done this for 4 years. You will all be moving on next year, I assume, from the smiles. You've gotten all your ducks in a row. BPA has taught you have to do all the paperwork and get things together. What are each of you all planning to do after this year is over? Well, how about you?
I'm going to Wilmington College and I'm studying agribusiness and animal science.
And where is that?
It's in Wilmington, Ohio. It's a really small college.
Okay. And what made you decide on the major that you've chosen?
I really like business, but I also wanted to be like, not just stay inside all the time. So agribusiness lets me go out to like farms and let me get in touch with people and I can sell to them so I can see them face to face.
Okay. Roger.
I'm planning on going to Ball State, which is in Muncie, and majoring in telecommunications.
Okay.
I plan on going to Purdue University, and I got accepted into the College of Health and Human Sciences for pre-professional, and I want to be an eye doctor, but I talked to people about being an eye doctor, and you can actually get whatever undergrad degree you want, and I have thought about doing a business degree because I like business professionals from America has pushed me to that, so.
Thanks. Matt?
I plan on attending Indiana State University in Terre Haute, and right now, the plan is to major in criminology and criminal justice.
Wow. If there are young kids watching this, their parents have grabbed them by the scruff of the neck and sat them down next to them, what can you all say to them about what this has done for you, what applying yourselves have been able to do for you, and how this organization and just thinking about your futures have changed where you all are as compared to maybe where you thought you would be as freshmen when you first walked in?
Joining BPA has prepared me so much for my future. Not only is it like computer contests or events or anything or something behind the camera, it helps, as Cammie said, she competes in accounting. We have speeches, we have a prepared speech event, interviewed events, and it has prepared me for what my future may look like.
And so we do have a regionals, and in that regional there's Richmond High School and Hagerstown High School.
Okay.
So there are more schools that we will take in that can join. So if your school doesn't have BPA as of right now, I would go like talk to somebody and tell them to look into it because it helps a lot.
It definitely has prepared me for my future. It has showed me like what I have interest in, because I probably wouldn't be going into telecommunications right now, like in college, if it wasn't for BPA.
BPA has really helped me with a lot of things. Like I did interview skills one year, and that really helped me because now if I have scholarships I have to be interview, I know how to prepare. And there's just like other little things like accounting I never thought I would like, but then I like it now, and I really like competing. It just gives me like a rush when I compete.
I want to ask a favor. May not be possible, but you all are on the video production team. Is it possible for you all to take a camera, maybe to state? I've been told that you cannot videotape the competition itself, but maybe you all could talk to some of your peers, interview some of the kids from other schools, put together another video, and show us some of what the state competition is like, so that those of us who don't get to go, don't get to see, maybe we can live through that experience a little bit. Would you all be willing to work that out?
Yeah.
It's fun.
Okay.
We love it.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you all go to nationals, same thing.
Hopefully.
Take the camera.
Hopefully.
Let's see what it's like. We have the fingers crossed. If we can help you all in any way, obviously, feel free to reach out and let us know, okay? And we'd be happy to do that. Good luck, obviously, to all of you all as you go. State is when? Because that's next?
March 10th.
Okay.
The 13th.
Yeah.
And that's going to be in Indianapolis, I believe.
Yes.
Okay. Before we go, we should probably do one more quick hit on your fundraiser. So bring it up and somebody tell us about the mac and cheese event.
We actually have a video on it if you want to watch it.
Another video for the mac and cheese event?
Yeah, it was Carrie, me, and Matthew that made it.
All right.
I think Miss Klein has it on her BPA account.
On her Twitter.
Is it on
on her
YouTube?
Twitter. Yeah, it's on
It's on YouTube.
It's on
too.
YouTube.
Okay,
And
it's
we
on
do
YouTube.
get full profit from the mac and cheese contest.
Full profit from the mac and cheese contest is going to the BPA. We are going to go to YouTube and we are going to try to find that video and we will share it on our Facebook page. We'll also share it on our YouTube page to let people know what's going on. I appreciate you all very much making the drive over here or using your water wings or whatever it was that got you down the road, because it is incredibly wet out there. Introduce yourselves one more time as we say goodbye.
All right, Matthew Berry.
Rachel Merida.
I'm Carrie Meal.
Cami Lehman.
They are all four-year members of the Lincoln High School BPA team that is 53 students going to state. Best of luck to you all very much.
Thank you.
When we come back, we will actually hear from Phil Quinn speaking with Leslie Bolser about More Than Words. If that's not a program that you're familiar with, you'll want to stick around for that interview. Next week, we'll also be talking with Jeff Plasterer. Thanks for watching.
I'm Al Bledsoe.
I'm Ron Chappelle, co-host with Al here at Proudly We Serve. Our guest for this next program is Miss Whitney Mays, who's the director at Hope House Drug Recovery Center. It's a great program, and we hope you'll tune in. Al?
Watch us on Monday evening at 8 p.m. on WCTV Channel 20.
Hi, I'm Sherry Harlan, program host for Read Beside You. Join us on our next episode where our guest will be Erica Millsap, stroke program educator at Read Health, and Misty Faust Cofield, Chief Nursing Officer and Vice President, and Ryan Williams, Director of EMS, Forensics, and Trauma Services at Read Health. Join us Thursday, 8 o'clock, Channel 20, WETV.
Family disaster plan is the document that a family would make to prepare themselves on how they would respond or how they would react to any event or emergency. Plans should be written by all members of the family. That way they have ownership, they all have involvement. Everyone's ideas are addressed and concerned and all brought together to make a complete document. Contact information is important because you and your loved ones may be separated during an event. If you're separated, you have to know who to be in contact with so you all can communicate eventually together. Family members may be at different locations. They should have a central meeting point away from the home where they all know they can go to reunite and become a whole family again. Everyone should be prepared. When families are more prepared, it makes the community more prepared, and that's better for everyone involved.
I'm Rachel Hughes, host of The Third Sector. Join me this month and my guests Alan Stamper, Good News Habitat for Humanity, and Eric Nicholson from Richmond Neighborhood Restoration.
We've had this great history of all these factories and music, and because of that, we've kind of inherited all these great places. So.
The Third Sector airs Thursdays at 8:30 on WETV Channel 20.
Leslie Bolser, who is the coordinator with More Than Words, affectionately known as Better Way to Be, and this is a program that's funded through the United Way. And I know the story about how More Than Words came to be, but I think this was a program that you helped bring to our community. Talk about the history of that, and thanks for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So More Than Words is a program of the United Way of Whitewater Valley, and it's unique only to our area. It was born out of a conversation that about 30 people had around a table about 5 years ago, talking about ways we could improve adolescent responsibility in our area and how we could address some of the issues we saw socially with young people. So we started with, what's an adolescent and what should we teach them about the way that they interact with each other and with the world. And then we realized that to affect that age group, we probably should start younger. And then we realized to affect that age group, we should probably start older. And we came up with the idea that in order to have this common set of beliefs throughout our community, that it should be something that not only is for kids, but is for also adults, businesses, community organizations. So the idea to do a word a month and the little definition that we use with it, and then programming related to that and activities and curriculum related to that for children, youth, adults, and community members alike. That's how it came to be.
Is it difficult to find the words that translate between those different generations, or does it always seem to fit?
Yeah, it's funny. It does always seem to fit. One of the things that I particularly love about the way that this has been structured is that there are no words that we choose that are things you could grow out of, to be old enough to be perfect at, have enough money to be better at it than someone else. There's no division among us when it comes to being patient, right? Whether you're a child or an adult, patience is something that we all need to show from time to time, and none of us have it all together. So having these conversations with a preschooler certainly looks different than having these conversations with a coworker. But the words and their definitions are written in such a way that we're able to have those conversations at different levels all the way around the community, which is what keeps it interesting and makes it real when it's something that not one person or one group of people can say, hey, we've got it all together, you guys need to figure it out, but it's something that we all need to grow together.
How do you take some of the words and demonstrate how they impact a person? Do you show videos? Do you go and talk to kids? How does that process work?
Yeah, so a lot of ways. Because kids learn and hear and respond to things differently, we try to use a lot of different methods. We work directly with the schools. Any school who's interested, we feed them curriculum and activities and things fully funded by the United Way, totally free to them. And besides the classroom resources that we give to the teachers or the counselors, we also do in-school assemblies in several schools once a month where we go and I have community volunteers that come with me or go with other groups, and they put on wild, crazy, fun, about a half an hour assemblies that really show what this value or what this big idea looks like in their lives. We have volunteers from all across the community, from several churches to Richmond Civic Theater, businesses like Phillips Drugs. We have lots of people who come together and help put these assemblies on. And so then we're able to show videos, play games, bring teachers up and have them do fun activities with us, all pointing back to the idea that these things are important in school and in their lives. We like to incorporate science experiments because kids get a
Sure.
big kick out of putting vinegar and baking soda together and making a little mini explosion.
Yeah.
So we do things like that are attention getting, but we also try to make sure that each thing we do drives home the point of whatever it is we're talking about that month.
Well, let's take an example of the word for January. The word of the month is self-control.
Yeah.
So let's just start with maybe with kids. How do you define self-control for them, and then how do you help showcase that?
Yeah, so for self-control, we're talking about choosing to do what you should do, not just what you want to do. And so that makes for difficult conversations sometimes, both with kids and with adults,
Sure.
right?
Sure it does.
It's not a difficult thing for me to talk about this program because I am more at need, probably, of these things than other people, even so. But this one's a really good one because there's no one who could argue with you that self-control is something that every person needs at some point. Some would say all the time, some would say sometimes, but everybody needs to be able to demonstrate self-control to be a successful citizen, right? So when we talk to kids about that, we talk about the immediate and the things that they're thinking right then and right at that moment, and how they work through wanting something and having to delay, and wait for it or not get it exactly right when they want it. And this is, if you're a parent of a toddler or a preschooler, this is kind of like your whole life, right? Is teaching self-control. But then through adulthood, even as, with your family members or with your coworkers, are we encouraging each other to make smarter control decisions, or are we encouraging each other to make quick decisions? And how do we control our temper? How do we control our emotions? All of those things are conversations that adults can be having too.
Yeah, absolutely right. When you are talking to businesses, or you're relaying them materials for the month. I know that there's an email that will go out each month, and those things can have graphics on them, they can have quotes, that sort of thing. A lot of businesses will end up incorporating those.
Yeah.
So is the hope that the kids learn some of these values and maybe from an assembly, and then they come home and they talk to their parents about it, and their parents maybe grasp a couple of things, take it to work as they're working on a group project with colleagues? Is that how you envision the message filtering through?
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit of both, right? Filtering up through the kids to the parents, and then filtering down from the parents to the kids. But part of the thing that's really important about this is that it's not just about kids. Imagine our community if we were really successful with kids, and kids demonstrated things like compassion and self-control and service and patience, but the adults didn't, right? It still wouldn't be a very great place to live. So this is something that we're able to talk about regardless of the age of the person involved. And imagine a business that has people there who show those things. Imagine the corporate culture you would have if all of your employees and coworkers were showing those things, and imagine the corporate culture if no one was. So it's not a difficult sell for businesses to also want to talk about these things. And so for businesses in particular, we try to resource them in a way that's not like kids, right? That's a little more friendly to adults. And so maybe that's just attaching a quote to your email signature, something like that, putting things on bulletin boards or digital screens. Simple things like that. But most recently, we've been partnering with the Chamber of Commerce on a project to focus on some local businesses once a month to talk about what these values look like when they're applied to work readiness skills.
Oh, wow.
So we've been talking for self-control, for example, or self-discipline is a skill that Indiana has recognized as something that's necessary for young people to be learning to be work ready. And so we're working with the Chamber and some high school students in the area, and we're filming some videos that we're sharing with young people that feature local businesses and how these values play out in work life.
Oh, wow. Okay, so
Yeah.
the host of the program are teens.
Yes.
So then that means you can show those at the assemblies, and the younger kids get to see the bigger kids. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Little synergy there, I feel it, yeah.
So we're sending them particularly to middle schools right now. That's our target audience with those. But the high school kids are asking, construction companies about why teamwork and cooperation are important in their field. And they're also asking questions like, is there a shortage in this field? And what if you knew a student who wanted to get into this field? What might they need to do? And so we're planting some seeds for kids about things that are going to be available to them in the community, what skills and what things they're going to need to do along the way through school in order to be able to accomplish those. And then highlighting the fact that these values and big ideas that we talk about, aren't just something that are required for school, but they're required to be a good employee as well.
Yeah. I want to get into a couple of things that I know the More Than Words campaign is coming up, but you have mentioned the United Way a couple of different times now. Let's talk about their role for a second. You mentioned that this is a fully funded program that the United Way offers. So they see value in it, and from a greater community standpoint. Have they been a partner this whole time?
Absolutely. It's owned by the United Way. Like I said, it's unique to this area. So the United Way of Whitewater Valley is the sole funding partner, and the board of directors for the United Way really runs the show, along with the president of the United Way, Paul Stanley. And their generosity for our community and seeing that this is important and being able to resource schools and community organizations and businesses in this way is, I think, commendable and something that is, again, unique to us, but is a model that could be replicated, I think, in other places in terms of how to use the money that the community is generously giving to the United Way in ways to impact the community. And obviously, the United Way has an incredible impact in the hundreds of thousands of dollars in our community every single year. And what we do with More Than Words is a very, very small part of that. But we're glad to be named with all of those other organizations that the United Way funds that are so important and so critical for our community as well.
And I think that helps bridge into the role that the community plays. And one of the events that is coming up that I know More Than Words is involved in. Is called Construction.
Yeah.
And I've seen pictures of this. I've been to the events before. But tell our audience, if you will, what does Construction all involve?
Yeah. So Construction is a national organization, probably international organization, that encourages learning through STEM. And they have an adult competition where people in science industries, engineering, architecture, things like that, use canned and boxed foods to build these incredible structures, freestanding structures out of these canned goods. And then they're on display for a period of time, and then they're donated to a local food pantry. There's a junior level of this competition, and that's what we host. We're a host site here. So ours is coming up in February at Reed Health, and we'll have several teams of middle school students who, with their teachers and then with a community coach, will build structures out of canned and boxed goods. And then in about 15 minutes on a Thursday night, after everything's been displayed for a little while, 100 or so people from the community come together. We tear those down, box them up, and they send them to the community food pantry on 19th Street.
How great is that?
Yeah,
That's wonderful.
It's really neat.
Now, when will this take place? When will some of this sign up? And are there some needs from More Than Words in United Way? Do you need some help from the community to help bring this event back around again?
Yeah, absolutely. So the event happens the second week of February. It's the February 11th, I believe, to the 14th is the week that the students will be building those. And then that Thursday evening at Reed, there's a public reception where you can see what the students have built and participate in that way. A couple of one small way that people could get involved, if this is something that sounded really interesting to you. We're all aware of the food insecurity problems that we have in our area, particularly in Wayne County, and this is one way that the United Way and More Than Words choose to put a hand into that issue. And so anybody who felt like they wanted to donate some canned goods or some money in order to purchase the canned goods for that project can certainly do that through the United Way. But what we have the biggest need for right now are coaches or mentors who would be willing to help the teams of students to build those structures.
Now, are you looking for teachers? Are you looking for people that are involved in engineering? I mean, I got to think that there's a real science element and engineering element to these canned construction projects. Can you use people like that, or people like me that play with Lincoln Logs and Legos?
Yeah. So some of both, right? There is some structural integrity that needs to happen for these to stand up on a carpeted floor in the basement of Reed. However, there's this thing called the internet.
Oh, I'm not aware.
Where a lot of people who have done these before share the structures and the sculptures that they've been able to do with the cans. And so there's a lot of information out there. We also have several coaches who have done this for many years here and are willing to lend a hand. But the primary responsibility of those people, community members really, would be to go into a classroom with an assigned teacher a couple times, twice maybe, help the students figure out how many cans or boxes they would need of their items, budget that out within the amount that they're given to spend on the canned foods, and then be there at Reed when they set them up and help them stack or balance in such a way that they remain standing for the week.
And what's neat is they're all different types of designs. The students get to help create those with the coach.
Yeah, so last year there was a dog house. Dennis Bulldogs made a dog house.
There you go.
There was a tall pencil, it was maybe 12 feet tall pencil. And then there was also a DNA structure, the cell of an animal cell maybe that a science class had done that had bags of rice and all kinds of canned goods all over the floor. So there's vertical structures and horizontal structures and everything in between. We've had a giant SpongeBob before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, all kinds of things.
There you go.
Lots of creativity.
I want to talk a little bit about how organizations can get involved, certainly with getting through the United Way. But you've been doing the program now for a long enough period of time. What are some surprises that you're finding in this community with kids kind of growing up with this now? What has surprised you about this program? What are things you'd still like to see to do?
Yeah. What I most enjoy is when I see the word of the month in an unexpected place, where an unexpected group has on their own taken that word and done something interesting or done a project using that word. Last month, I went to Americana Pizza and bought some pizza because the communities and schools, students from Centerville Junior High School, were doing a compassion project for one of the nursing homes in the area. And that was just exciting for me to see things like that happen when folks take ownership and take an interest in their own way. And I think that's really exciting that it still continues to grow, even outside of what it was, originally intended to be. Yeah.
You mentioned compassion. That was the word of the month for December.
Yeah.
And I saw a post on Better Way to Be on their Facebook page and Twitter where kids in the community help write some Christmas cards. And that's a wonderful story. Share that with us.
Yeah, so a friend of mine named Melissa Johnson was a former basketball coach at Earlham College, has been really transparent and generous in sharing her story about some illnesses that she's faced in the past several years and how long she's been hospitalized for, fighting various battles throughout this illness. And she mentioned at one time that receiving something as simple as a card made a big difference for her. When you are, in the same hospital bed, in the same room with the same nurses for an extended period of time, you run out of things to talk about. And she said, even having a card there, when the nurses came in, they would ask her who it was from and how she knew them and, how they were connected and all those things. And it was something that I hadn't considered before. And so when we were thinking of things to offer for the schools to have a way to sort of interact with the word, with compassion, her thoughts came to my mind. And I reached out to her and she made a video sharing her experience with kids. And we sent that to some schools. And we had, I just said, if you feel interested in participating, then let me know and we would love to deliver cards for you. So before school let out for winter break, we collected about 1,500 cards.
Right in the busy part of the holidays.
The busiest part of the holidays. And we were able to give a card to every nursing home resident, every patient at Reed, and then we sent some to Riley Hospital, and we sent some with Melissa's family to the Cleveland Clinic where she is right now. So lots of folks got those cards over the holidays. It was really neat.
So you get this goosebump moment when you get to share those kind of stories.
Yeah.
You said that this program was unique to our community. Why aren't other communities looking at what Wayne County is doing and trying to duplicate it? Is it hard?
Yeah, well, it's not that hard. We have had some communities reach out and some interest in doing it this way. Really, it takes some creativity, and it takes an entity like the United Way, who believes so strongly in creating this common set of expectations and this really fantastic culture in a community behind it in order to make something like this really take off. And we're really lucky that we have several visionaries who have come through the United Way in that time, and several board members who have been on board with that vision, and we're lucky to have it. But yes, it's completely reproducible. It would be something that could be done mostly anywhere, I would say.
Yeah, I hope some of those folks maybe watching us tonight say, you know what, I'm not going to let Wayne County do something this good.
Yeah.
The different words, we've seen everything from responsibility to compassion, patience, self-control. There just seems to be this web where all those words connect in some sort of way. Is that intentional?
Yeah, it is intentional.
How hard is it to come up with the word of the month? I mean,
it is intentional. We partner with a curriculum company in the Atlanta area that writes school curriculum that uses and has written these words and definitions. We've adapted them a little bit some months to make them, most appropriate for here. But we have been really happy with the partnership we've been able to have with them and the way that they've allowed us to use their intellectual property in this way, this creative way. The words tend to follow along with the natural calendar. So it's not a coincidence that self-control is a word that we choose in January.
Right, when we start all of our new resolutions.
Exactly,
yeah, okay.
Exactly. It's not a coincidence that compassion happens in December when people are in a giving spirit, right? So those things aren't coincidental. And then there are three sort of major themes that they all fit under. And the first one is about how we treat other people and that we treat them right. The second one is about decision making for kids, especially, and self-control is one of those that falls under the decision making category. And then the last one is about just maximizing your potential and being the best that you can be. So the words generally fall in at least one, maybe all three of those categories as they're selected. And then they rotate. We repeat them about every 3 years.
Okay.
Which, if you're talking to children, that's about right, because a preschooler and then a second grader and then as they move on up and hear it every 3 years, they would hear it in a different way and experience it in a different way.
Right.
So it's about the right system.
Well, let's talk about how people can get involved. Maybe businesses, or if you're with a community organization, or maybe you want to volunteer. How do people get involved with this program?
Yeah, so any of those things we would love. We love expanding through more businesses and community organizations, more schools. We always take more schools if they're interested. We work particularly with Wayne and Union County because that's the reach of the United Way of Whitewater Valley.
Oh, so you are in Union County?
We are in Union County.
Okay,
as well,
all
yeah.
right.
But we wouldn't turn away anyone who is interested in learning more about this and helping them work in their community as well.
Okay.
So through our Facebook page is a really easy way to do it. Better Way to Be. We do have, you can contact United Way easily. Really any of our social media is probably the quickest and easiest way. But any way that people want to volunteer. We've had ideas in the past that only came because of a conversation through a business who wanted to participate in a certain way, and they would say, do you guys offer this certain thing because that's the way we talk to kids, is this one way? And no, we don't, but let's do it now because that's the way that you communicate with kids. And so that's how a lot of our ideas come, is from working with new businesses and new community organizations.
Yeah, it is just a wonderful program. And I know that with my radio show, we get a chance to talk to you once a month about it. And what I'm always find interesting is that people will often say that they heard our conversation, because we talk about it early in the month, but it seems as though somehow, some way, maybe with opportunities with WCTV and other organizations, continuing to do something throughout the month, we don't lose it. We don't want to lose some of that self-esteem. Is that some advice for us? Is continue to use it, not just when you get the email, but try to see how you can work at it in the 15th of the month and the 20th of the month.
Yeah, no, I mean that's a really great idea. The other thing to remember is that self-control is kind of appropriate for January because we are thinking about resolutions and things like that. But it's not the only month of the year that we need self-control.
Right. Okay.
And we don't only need compassion in December. So that's tricky too about the whole word of the month kind of system. But these hopefully are sort of braiding their way in to the things that we do and the way that we have conversations with each other. And I know with kids a lot of times what we see is that they'll remember and they'll recall something from a previous month, and in a conversation they'll bring that back up. It gives the administration a really great way to talk to kids in behavioral situations and say, remember when they talked about this, or remember when you saw this, and to recall it in those ways helps a lot.
Are the schools that you partner with, have they seen a change in student behavior? Have they noticed that this program is really working?
Yeah, anecdotally, we hear that evidence. We haven't asked them to measure it in any specific way.
It'd be tough. I mean, that's just like anything else, right?
Yeah, but they give up very precious classroom time. Those teachers are held accountable for that classroom time. The principals are. They're measured on what they're doing with the time that they have with the kids in the building. And so for them to continually give us that 30 minutes a month tells me that they see some value in it, and that the gift that the United Way is giving to them is paying off for them in some way. It may look different in each school, and there's different levels of kids, but I see that as an encouragement that they would continue to be willing to allow us that time, that it's something that's really helping them out.
Do you ever see a time when we're not going to be talking about the word of the month?
Yeah, I thought about that today. I thought about,
when's he not going to call me?
Yeah, no. What's the goal? What's the hope? Is it someday that the United Way believes that all of Wayne and Union counties will live in this utopian place where we all treat each other the right way and do all the right things? And I don't think that that's a realistic goal, but I do think that growth is a realistic goal, and being honest is a realistic goal. And having a way to verbalize and react to things in an organized way it is also a goal. So I don't think that we will ever not need these things.
Yeah, right. That's right.
But a reminder all the time is good and healthy.
Leslie Bolser, she is coordinator with the More Than Words program, a fully funded program with the United Way of Whitewater Valley. You can find out more by going to their Facebook page, Twitter, @BetterWayToBe. It's a great conversation, and think about partnering with them coming up.
And we want to thank Phil Quinn for having that discussion in early January with Leslie Bolser. That's a great conversation, and definitely remember A Better Way to Be. Want to remind you about some things happening in the community. The Morrison Reeves book sale is taking place February 7th, 8th, and 9th, 3 to 7 on the 7th, 11:30 to 5:30 on the 8th, and 10 to 2 on the 9th at Morrison Reeves Library. Lots of items up for sale. It's also the opening weekend of Richmond Civic Theater's Into the Woods Junior. It's happening February 9th and 10th. School day performance on the 8th. And of course, for more information, go to rct.org. Into the Woods at Richmond Civic Theater. Bethel AME Church is having a pre-Valentine brunch on February 9th from 8 to 11. Take your sweetheart out to breakfast. Lots of good food, lots of good fellowship. There's a number on the screen if you want to get more information. If you've been thinking about volunteer at Help the Animals, they're doing a volunteer orientation. That happens the second Saturday of each month at 11 o'clock. Information there on the screen, Help the Animals, 2101 West Main Street. A recital series with Bethany Theological Seminary and the Richmond Symphony Orchestra is taking place this Saturday at 4 o'clock. The first one of these in January ended up being canceled because of the weather. I think the weather's going to work out this weekend. Definitely go and enjoy this show. There's free admission, but they do want you to RSVP. There's a number on the screen, 966-5181. Call for more information and to reserve your space. Free family meal happening on the second Tuesday of each month at Greens Fork United Methodist Church and the Greens Fork Community Center. That's 5 to 7. Carry out available after 6. Very nice of those folks to help out. Story time has returned to the Centerville Public Library. Happens every Wednesday starting at 6 p.m. Times on the screen, 11 and 11:30, and story time for ages 0 to 2 and 3 to 5. You know, it's really important that we read to the kids. This time of year, FAFSA. A lot of that is going on. Cash for College. There are some dates there that you want to mark down. February 13th at Richmond High School. February 24th at IU East and Tom Raper Hall. Goes into March, goes into April. Mark those down. If you are thinking about going to college, someone in your family is thinking about going to college, they really need to get involved with that. The Boys and Girls Club of Wayne County have been seeking mentors for their teens ages 13 to 18 at their 4 locations. If you are interested in being a mentor, you should reach out to them at the Jeffers Unit, 1717 South L Street. Complete your paperwork and meet with the program director. And last but not least, if you're like me and still have a Christmas tree laying around, you want to get rid of it, you can still drop that off at Cope Environmental Center. They'll get it chipped up and put it out on the trails. Don't forget, you can see replays of this show 10:30 tonight, also tomorrow night, twice on Saturday, twice on Sunday. It'll also be available on our video on demand site, WGTV Online, and audio of this program can also be heard on 100.9 ESPN Radio and G1013, 6 o'clock on Sunday mornings. Thank you very much for watching this week's program. We'll be back next week. I'll have a conversation with at least Jeff Plasterer, and we think Commissioner Ken Paust will also join us. Have a good weekend.